anything?
The whole thing, the whole thing's different again, Matt.
Testing. The sound's working.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to mute.
Yeah,
Can
so-
you hear about now? Does there sound still?
Maybe wait till we get back up, but seems like the sound's working.
I was trying to mute it while we're waiting for the meeting.
Yes. Yeah, it's still on.
Still on.
Now it just went off.
This meeting is being held in conformance with the Sunshine Law. Notice of date, time, and place has been furnished to the record in the Ridgewood News. Notice has also been posted on the bulletin board of the Administration Building. Will the clerk kindly take the roll?
Mayor Giordano.
Here.
Ms. Sericola.
Here.
Mr. Schatz.
Here.
Mr. Shalero.
Here.
Mrs. Sherman. Here.
Will everyone kindly rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance. Let us have a moment of silence for all our Waldeck veterans and all veterans across our country who have given the ultimate sacrifice to keep us free so we could assemble the way we are tonight. Prayer.
Dear Lord, we start this meeting asking for your guidance and wisdom. May we find unity and fairness. The outcome should reflect our wishes to assist the borough in all their endeavors. Thank you in his name. Amen.
Amen.
Good evening, everyone. Under my report, just a couple of items. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who partook in the tree lighting ceremony that we had beginning of the month. It was a great success in Borough Park. It was something new that we did, and I'd like to thank Kelly and Tatiana, our administrator, our council, everybody who was there, the police, the fire, all of the organizations that made the night a success. I'm not going to go into much more details because everyone up here will probably say the same thing. Also, this Sunday at 4:30, we will be having the menorah lighting. We have a cantor coming in. We have a new menorah this year, so she will be blessing it before we have our ceremony. It'll start at 4:30 at the library. Also, just one more thing. Last month, I got an email from Mr. Gottheimer, our congressman, about the Hometown Hero. Every year, I try to put somebody in to receive the Hometown Hero Award. Sometimes the people get it, sometimes they don't. It all depends on what the congressman decides to do. This year, we have a Hometown Hero in Waldwick, and it's our librarian, Lori Quinn, head of the library. Lori Quinn is a very active person in our community. She's done so much for the children. She's done so much for the adults and for the seniors. And she will be honored on Friday, December 16th. From 11 to 1, the ceremony is at the Fairlawn Community Center. Kelly and myself will be going to represent Waldwick. If anybody could make it, they could go there. Or if you see Lori after Friday, congratulate her and wish her well. It was a very easy choice with Lori because she goes always above and beyond. So I think she's well worthy of this honor, like everyone else that received this honor was also. That's all I have to report. Financial Administrative Committee, Mr. Shalero.
Thank you, Mayor. This past week, the Finance Committee met. The Finance Committee is comprised of Councilman Mike Ritchie, Councilman Paul Schatz, and myself. Included in our session was our Administrator, Patrick Weary, and our CFO, Colleen Ennis. The purpose of our meeting was in anticipation of the 2023 budget preparation. We anticipate having some additional challenges this year, and we were really interested in kind of getting ahead of it and gaining an understanding of what we're going to be challenged with in 2023 in terms of budgeting. So what we did was Patrick and Colleen put together a list of key line items that we already have figures on for 2023 that are going to provide substantial increases over what the cost was in 2022. And just about all of these items are non-discretionary. So in other words, items like our pension contribution, items like our sewer authority assessment, garbage and recycling collection. So on average, we're seeing increases from almost 10% to 40% in some cases. And so just trying to get a sense as to where we stand, what our challenges are going to be. In addition to having those line items to deal with, we're in a state that has caps by state law on municipalities in two areas. There's a tax cap, which means you can only raise your tax rate a certain amount in any given year. And there's an appropriation cap, which is similar. There are some items that don't count in those calculations, but the state limits you on how much you can raise in an appropriation a year. So those are the kinds of things we're looking at. We anticipate spending a lot more time deliberating as a governing body as we review what we want to do in 2023. Our staff will be preparing the documents. I mean, there were some additional items missing from this that may help, that may hurt. What remains to be seen. But I think we'll have a pretty interesting go of it. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. On the flip side, one of the things that really helps us is we have discretion in our capital spending. And that not only adds to our debt service, but it also adds to our appropriation, because we have to put, by law, 5% down on any capital spending that we have in a fiscal year. So we have a little control over that. We also have a substantial surplus that we could tap into if we can't reduce enough funding to keep under the tax cap. We could tap into surplus to help balance our budget. So a lot of things to consider. There's going to be probably a little lengthier process than in prior years once we have all the data put together. But it certainly is going to take a little more effort. Might take a little bit of sacrifice on both the operating budget as well as the capital budget in 2023. And, we've always kind of operated like that anyway. We've always been pretty conservative with how we approach things. But it's going to be difficult. I mean, when you look at, for instance, just our health care, and every municipality in New Jersey is experiencing this, because probably more than half the municipalities in the state are on the state health benefits plan. It was announced just a few weeks ago, state health benefits premiums are going up 24% in 2023. I know there's still some negotiations at the state level, but that's the information we have right now, and that's what we have to work with. So just to kind of give our colleagues on the mayor and council a heads up, it's going to take a little bit of effort. It's going to take multiple meetings, and we're going to have to really think about it. What I'd suggest we do in the meantime is start reviewing our 2022 budget again and look and see, where we spend our money and how we spend it, and then we can be better informed going into our 2023 work. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Fire and Police Protection Committee, Councilwoman Siricola.
Thank you, Mayor. Starting with the police department. On Thursday, 11/24, patrol responded to a residence for a reported home burglary. The Detective Bureau contacted and responded. After gathering information and video evidence on scene, headquarters identified the parties who entered into the residence. After interviewing the actors, it was determined that the parties had wrongfully entered the residence, believing it to be a friend's house. Once the actors realized it was a mistake, they left and did not take any property belonging to the complaint. The actors were arrested and charged with criminal trespass. On 11:30, patrol responded to a report of gunshots in the area of Grove Street and Dora in the early morning hours. The Detective Bureau responded, and the vehicle that had been shot was located. The scene was processed and evidenced, including physical and video, were located. The actor was quickly identified, and a criminal warrant was signed, as well as a search warrant for the actor's residence and vehicle. The actor arrested for weapons charges and criminal mischief and was brought to BCJ. On a side note, the responding patrol officers and detectives did an outstanding job in clearing the case in 17 hours with the subject under arrest. I'm sure this did much to relieve some of the anxiety that residents were sure to be experiencing. Maybe we could recognize these officers one day at a subsequent council meeting. Our newest officer, Matthew Palmieri, will be graduating from the police academy this Friday. The graduation ceremony will be held at Felician College in Lodi at 11 a.m. And Matthew will then enter into our field training officer program, where he'll spend the next 2 months actively training with a field training officer. The program consists of several phases, first being the observation phase, where he will learn and observe the proper procedure for service calls. The next phase allows Officer Palmieri to be more hands-on, taking the role as lead officer while still being with his training officer. And the last phase consists of shadowing, where Officer Palmieri will act as a lead officer to demonstrate his competency of what he has learned so far. This phase allows him to respond to calls by himself while his field training officer still shadows him and officers advise where needed. After the 3 phases are successfully completed, he'll be assigned to a squad where he'll act as a junior patrol officer for that squad. Not strictly a Waldeck event, but there was a new program started by the Bergen County Police Chiefs Foundation where Chief Messner sits on the board, which is honoring our veterans for the holiday season. Wreaths were purchased for each municipality and were distributed as such following a ceremony at the Paramus Veterans Home. Patrick, our administrator, gave him the okay to place our wreath out front, and it was a well-attended event, and he notes that they did experience a little snow flurry, so some of the veterans had to stay inside, but they observed from inside. Now moving on to the fire department. They ended November with 29 calls for service, 6 of which were mutual aid. Drills in November consisted of mandatory bloodborne pathogens and right to know, and to work details, maintenance of equipment, and firehouses. The fire department also escorted Santa around town this past Sunday, which I'm sure a lot of you were experiencing, for the Lions Club, and then there was the annual tradition that we have them doing for multiple years. Next week is the Operation Santa fundraiser, so if you want any information, I'm sure you can find it on Facebook or contact someone in the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councilman Schatz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, the ambulance corps, I wanted to say, they had 39 runs with 1 mutual aid in November. And we also, last night, they had their Christmas party with a good attending. And at the same time, I also saw the new ambulance rig that they got. They picked it up last Friday. It's really a phenomenal vehicle. They have a lot of options and everything. They got it for a great deal. So they were very happy about that and getting it so quickly. They got it within a month. Also, I attended the planning board meeting via our YouTube video that night, and we had 6 resolutions passed, and then 3 applications were also passed. The environmental meeting, I have no report until it's going to be on Thursday, so I won't have a report. But otherwise, that's it. Thank you, Mr. And I do want to also say that the Christmas party, Christmas tree lighting, I was there, and it was a really phenomenal event. Kelly, you did a phenomenal job. You and Tatiana did a great job, and Patrick as well. But it was a really great job. They did a great job there. I'm sure it's going to be a very big success every year and growing bigger and bigger. I probably took 300 pictures of families in Santa all at the same time. There's a line about 100 feet long waiting to take pictures for it. So it was a really great event. Thank you again.
Thank you. Recreation and Health Committee, Councilman Sherman.
Let's see. I was just going to talk about the tree lighting as well. Very well-run event. There were a lot of happy residents there. The train ride was wonderful. The children seemed to enjoy it. It was great to see the Waldeck Middle School there doing their performance of Frozen. They did an adorable job. It was just a fun family night that Waldeck should be very proud of. I enjoyed myself and I enjoyed being there, so I thank everyone for their hard work in pulling it off. It was great. The banners around town that different businesses purchased look great, hanging. The buildings are all lit. They look wonderful. Our town really looks pretty for the holidays. I wanted to thank the Waldeck Lions Club for putting up the nativity scene on the library front lawn, and congratulate the borough on the new menorah. It's actually very beautiful, and I love how you have a blue light on it. It looks really pretty, and I'm looking forward to the ceremony on Sunday at 4:30. I wanted to recognize the Girl Scout Juniors, troops 9, 7, 6, 7, 8, for decorating our tree in Borough Park, in Van Son Park, excuse me. It was really nice to see the photo of the little girls there, and they worked so hard in making it pretty and representing our town beautifully. I wanted to thank the DPW for the amazing job they did on my street with the leaf cleanup. There wasn't a leaf to be had on the street when they were done. And I have a WAFA Zoom meeting this week. It's been hard to get the members together for a meeting in person, so we're doing a Zoom meeting instead this week. That's all I have.
Thank you. Borough Administrator Patrick.
Thank you, Mayor. This Friday at 1 o'clock, we will have our employee holiday party. We're fortunate enough to be able to get together with all of our employees at a local establishment and celebrate, everybody's hard work over the year. Borough Hall and borough operations, other than the police department, will shut down at 1 p.m. on Friday. Also, on tonight's agenda are 2 resolutions accepting the resignation of employees. Fortunately, both of these employees are going to do good work in other places. So the first one is a resignation of tax cashier Vicki Walker. We were fortunate, and Vicki was fortunate, that while she was here, she took classes and passed the exam to be a tax collector. And she was able to be hired at another municipality as their tax collector. So we're really we're fortunate to have her while she was here, and that she's moved on to another position. It's something she's studied extensively for. The second one is from a public safety telecommunicator. Similarly, this is a dispatcher, someone who had applied to this position in the hopes of getting experience so they could one day become a police officer. And this employee has been accepted into a police academy, so he's leaving us to start in the police academy. So we wish both of those employees well as they start their new jobs. That is all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Borough Clerk Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. The 2023 calendar, we've started entering the borough holidays, events, elections, white goods, recycling, hydrant flushing onto the calendar on the website, as well as some other events happening. We'll put additional pages for the garbage and recycling once we start 2023, just to clarify anything else that needs to be. With regard to the Christmas tree lighting, I just would like to thank the mayor and council and the administrator for allowing us to put this event on. We did work really hard. We were really overwhelmed by the turnout. We had no idea. It was a really great night. There's a lot of people to thank for that. DPW, the police department, the fire department, the ladies auxiliary did a great job. Having the school kids there to do their little skit was a great addition, and it's always good to include more groups. It brings out more people, and I think everybody had a good time. Of course, we look to do something a little bit bigger and better. We have been approached already by organizations who want to donate things, so we do look to make this a little bit bigger and better, and maybe not have to, foot the bill. So the feedback was positive, and we'll make some adjustments and move forward for next year. So thank you again, and I just want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a happy Kwanzaa, and a safe, healthy, and happy New Year. That's it.
Thank you. Grant Administrator Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor. On tonight's agenda, we have a resolution endorsing the annual Bergen County Community Development Block Grant. The borough is applying for infrastructure improvements to Harrison Avenue between Wyckoff Ave and West Prospect Street. In previous years, we've done similar projects to this. We will pave the road, improve sidewalks, and 88 curb ramps. Our estimate from Boswell Engineering came in at $161,000. That will be the amount we apply for. In previous years, we've received $101,000, $115,000, and $75,000 for the same grant. So while the full amount probably won't be covered, I would expect the vast majority of the amount of this project will be covered through the grant. That's all, Mayor, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you, you too. Borough Attorney, Mr. Zong.
Thank you, Mayor. No report. Just want to wish everybody happy, healthy, and safe holiday season.
Thank you. Consent resolutions and resolutions of the governing body.
Be it resolved that the following resolutions herewith listed by consent, having been considered by the governing body of the Borough of Waldwick, are hereby passed and approved. 2022-368, approval of consent. 2022-369, approval of minutes, regular meeting November 22nd, 2022. 2022-370, award a fair and open contract to Skiope? Is that how you say it, Matt?
Scoppy.
Oh,
is what I was
Scoppy
told it was called.
LLC for administration, building remediation, and repairs in the amount of $125,800. 2022-371, endorsing resolution for the Bergen County Community Development Block Grant for Harrison Avenue Road Repairs and Curb Installation Project. 2022-372, authorize renewal of the Waldeck Volunteer Workers Accident and Health Policy. 2022-373, authorize release of a dumpster escrow for 5 Wayne Court. 2022-374, approval of council reorganization meeting for January 3rd, 2023. 2022-375, approval of council regular meeting for January 10th, 2023. 2022-376, approval of the 2023 floating holiday. 2022-377, approval of raffle license 2022-06 for the village school. 2022-378, accept resignation of tax cashier Vicky Walker. 2022-379, accept resignation of full-time public safety telecommunicator Peter Bernard. 2022-380, appointment of keyboard clerk 1 Cynthia Johnson. 2022-381, cancellation and refund of taxes for block 120.01 lot 9. 2022-382, tax overpayment, and 2022-383, payment of vouchers.
Do I have a motion and a second to accept? Motion by Councilman Shalero, second by Councilman Schatz. On the question, anyone? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I think Matt covered the community development block grant pretty well. I'll mention the awarding the contract to Scoppy LLC for the administration building. These are the repairs as you look around here, the hallway downstairs for the damage caused by the sprinkler system. So we were able to go out to bid. We got a number of really good bids that were very competitive, and we're happy to continue to move forward with the project. That's all I have.
Anyone else? I just want to talk about 2022-374, the reorganization meeting. As always in the past, our reorganization meeting will be on January 3rd, 2023. Tonight's meeting will not be closed. We will just walk away from the podium. We will continue it at 7:30 p.m. On that date. After that part of the meeting is closed, then we will have the reorganization meeting. Procedure that we've been following for years. It used to always be on New Year's Day, but now we changed it to the first Tuesday or the first night that we have a meeting in the new year. Anyone else? Clerk, please take the roll.
Ms. Sericola?
Yes.
Mr. Schatz?
Yes.
Mr. Shalero?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Okay. Advertised business. Clerk, kindly read ordinance number 2022-29. Title.
Ordinance number 2022-29, an ordinance amending Chapter 48 fees, Section 51-8 Fire Prevention Code to add late fees.
Anyone from the council would like to comment on this ordinance that was just read? We discussed this at the last council meeting. What this is that the fire prevention goes out and they go to all the businesses, and there's a fee you have to pay. And sometimes the businesses do not pay the fee. So what we're doing is we're putting in a late fee on it, 25% late fee, so that there's more revenue that's being brought in, and the business have to realize that they have to pay this bill. It's like anything else; everyone has to pay the bill. If you don't pay it, there's a late fee. So even with the fire prevention. Anyone else from the council? If not, I close the council's comments. I ask anybody from the public who would like to comment on this ordinance that was just read. If not, I close the council's comments, and I ask for a motion and a second to pass this ordinance on second reading, and that it be, the clerk be authorized to advertise it in local legal newspapers as required by law. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Mr. Schatz and second by Mr. Shalero. Clerk, please take the roll.
Ms. Sericola?
Yes.
Mr. Schatz?
Yes.
Mr. Shalero?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Okay, we have no introduction of ordinances. Any unfinished business from the council? Got it? Okay, any new business from the council? Okay, yes.
I'm just curious, I've noticed, Councilman Ritchie hasn't been here quite often lately. Is, there a problem or something?
Kelly and I talked about it this evening before we started the meeting, and I will be reaching out to Councilman Ritchie tomorrow to find out if there's a problem, and if there is a problem, how we can solve it.
Okay, great.
Anyone else? Okay, if there's no other new business, public's comments. Anybody from the public would like to comment please come to the podium here, state your name and address for the record.
Janet Hascup, 98 Longview. I just have a question on that Cynthia Johnson, and she's going to be making $53,000 being a, maybe you can tell me what that job is for that money? Keyboard operator or whatever?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. She will be working in the finance tax office, collecting and booking tax payments as well as other miscellaneous revenue from the borough.
So that's just keying it into the system?
No,
Or it's going to be more than that, so keyboard?
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah, so
just
much more than that,
keyboard
yeah.
of it, okay.
that's just the civil service.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be much more than that. So there's a lot of interfacing with the community. There's a lot of, she will work with the seniors to get senior deductions and property tax freezes. There's a lot of tracking down payments and missed payments, and it's a very in-depth position, and we were fortunate to find someone who's
Just
able to do it.
misled me to what
Yeah.
it says.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no,
Okay.
but you
Okay.
can blame civil service for that. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Sergio Scardino. I reside at 33 John Dow Ave. First time speaking here, so please. I received a letter in the mail from Prudential asking him, they were asking me if I wanted to sell my house. And the letter resonated with me because I saw a couple news stories about corporations buying up small towns, lots of properties in the towns, and then they have really control over rents in the town. So they set the priority, and I guess they put like their own rent control in place. And I was curious if the council was aware of this practice that's happening. I think Florida has one town, and Ohio has one town. And you know, I think about my kids growing up in Waldwick and maybe wanting to purchase a house. And with corporations, they can't outbid them, right? The story covered like young homeowners trying to save, but they get outbid because corporations have a lot of money. And so I guess the whole American dream goes away with corporate America coming in. And I'm curious if the town's aware, if the council's aware of this practice. Do we know how many homes are owned by corporations? And is there a majority of one corporation that's already started in Waldwick? And if not, is this something the council can review and maybe address at another time?
To answer the gentleman's question, I don't know. We can probably look at the records to see how many are currently owned by corporations. Unfortunately, you know, a person has the right to sell the home to whoever they want to sell it to. And it is a concern. I saw the article in the paper and everything, and, you know, it's an interesting trend nationwide in that regard. So I think it's something that's got to be watched, and you know, just be aware of.
I don't think they'll ever be able to, like, the homeowners will sell to the highest bidder, right? But I guess my concern is the control they would have, maybe even over council with a majority vote, or even over rents, right? So I don't know if Waldwick has rent control. I don't think it does have rent control, but maybe that's something to review as well. Okay,
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and a happy, healthy holiday. And we'll see everybody on January 3rd. Thank you.